Well, it was a proud moment at the Super Bowl tonight for Toronto as Scarborough's very own The Weeknd took to the halftime stage.
A shining moment for the city. The Weeknd making history as the first ever Canadian solo artist and only the third ever to perform on the Super Bowl halftime stage. The 30-year-old Grammy Award winner played his greatest hits from Starboy to Blinding Lights to Can't Feel My Face. Over the course of the 12-minute performance, The Weeknd took the audience through a cinematic experience with mirrored rooms, lookalikes with bandages around their heads, and fireworks. Days before performance, the
You go fuck yourself, you fucking call me a scummy motherfucker. Step out here, I'm not cramped out. Fuck you! I'll make your life live in hell. That's where you at. You was hard to
You're the fucking scumbag! You don't do the bother with nobody!
You're a pussy! Pussy, pussy, pussy!
Go ahead! Go ahead! Go ahead! Go ahead!
Call the cops!
You fucking...
Call the cops!
Here's an unfortunate red pill for the conspiracy community. Whole sections of your worldview have been ripped off from random bits of pop culture trash, Hollywood blockbusters, daytime TV, pulp novels, and kids' comic books.
First step put upon the moon.
Reptilian entities are behind this manipulation of human society.
Where conspiracy theories and pop culture meet.
Let's start right at the top with conspiracy superstar David Icke. Icke was briefly a professional footballer. Then in 1991, he appeared on a British talk show wearing a turquoise tracksuit and declared he was the Son of God.
You claim to be the Son of God.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yes, you see, the thing is that it's quite funny, really.
He's now spent 30 years developing various theories, all underpinned by the essential belief that a race of shape-shifting, pan-dimensional lizard men have been secretly controlling the destiny of the human race. He's sold millions of books, can fill concert halls with thousands of paying fans on speaking tours. In a recent interview in which he declared coronavirus was a hoax had over 8 million views by the time YouTube removed it. But there's a problem here. I mean, there's many problems here, but a major one is that his whole fundamental theory is pretty much stolen straight from the plot of a 1980s TV show. The show V ran in the US and the UK in the 80s. It's pretty good. Basically, aliens arrive on Earth. They look just like us. Initially, they offer technological improvements, gaining the trust of the humans. But the heroes then discover that they're actually giant lizards disguising themselves in humanoid costumes, planning to enslave our planet, replace our leaders, and harvest us for food. Which basically is the gist of David Icke's entire philosophy.
People can deny their existence if they like. I do not give a shit. They exist.
So, when Icke goes on about reptile conspiracies, is he receiving divine revelations to save the human species as he claims? Or are these the half-remembered dregs of a TV show he saw shortly before he announced himself the Son of God? It's impossible to say for sure, but we do know Ike is a V fan. He said before that he thinks that the show got a lot of things right.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
After the JFK assassination, the Apollo moon landing became the second great hit of the 1960s conspiracy theory. You can see why.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Imagine a world before walking on the moon. Such a thing would have seemed unreal, magical, unbelievable, perhaps even faked as a bit of Cold War propaganda.
Neil Armstrong did not land on the moon. A government lie landed on the moon. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, man. It's like so stupid.
The very year Buzz and Neil landed on the moon, 1969, the idea of fakery was already being played out by Hollywood in the filming of a fake moon landing clumsily featured in the worst Sean Connery Bond film, Diamonds Are Forever. Then in 1979, Capricorn 1, a hit thriller about a faked Mars mission, came out.
There's only one small catch. It never happened.
The filmmakers were then sued for plagiarism by a prominent moon landing truther named Bill Kaysing.
Going to the moon was a real risky thing.
And the ensuing controversy elevated all sorts of moon landing nonsense into the conspiracy theory mainstream.
The footage that we have shows them faking being halfway to the moon. That proves they couldn't go halfway because they're faking being halfway.
Impressively, despite a supposedly vast government cover-up, the conspiracy fantasists apparently even figured out which director had shot the fake footage. Stanley Kubrick's psychedelic epic 2001: A Space Odyssey had come out the year before the moon landing, so obviously it must have been him.
NASA hired Stanley to fake the moon landing because they couldn't do it themselves. And then they threatened to kill his fucking family, so he shut the fuck up and put out subliminal messaging in The Shining to let you all know it was him that did that shit.
They were fake. We did them at Roswell. Smoke, mirrors. No, they were pretty real as far as I know. I mean, I only know Apollo 8.
And what about the Illuminati? Hip-hop's favourite conspiracy theory about a new world order who secretly run the world. I'm afraid this is stolen from 20th century pop culture as well. The original Illuminati were a small group founded in Bavaria in 1776. Ironically, their mission was specifically to promote enlightenment and combat superstition. They never had more than a few hundred members and were basically done by the early 1800s.
Bro, Illuminati real. You know what I'm saying? Once you hit your peak at a certain level, the crazy part about it is, what was Lil Durk at? And he did a video, people not paying attention. Hold on, Grandma, I'm gonna get you something to eat right now, okay?
But they did have kind of a cool name. Or so thought Lord 𝕂𝕋 Ravenhurst, who, to be fair, knew a thing or two about cool names. He was a hippie satirist, born Kerry Thornley, who in the 1960s teamed up with Playboy writer Robert Anton Wilson to troll the world. These two thought it would be a super funny prank to start writing letters to media outlets across America, blaming every problem, tragedy and failure on the secret behaviour of this shadowy group called the Illuminati. They called this Operation Mindfuck, and the inside joke became pretty influential, spinning into a series of novels called Illuminatus Trilogy, inspiring satires from Umberto Eco and Alan Moore, and some music by the KLF. Unfortunately, Operation Mindfuck's prank also inspired a generation of very online people to believe that the Illuminati actually run the world. Now, every time you see a YouTube comment claiming Katy Perry is part of the Illuminati, this is basically where it comes from. Let's get back to Stanley Kubrick. When he died while finishing the edit for his scary sex movie, Eyes Wide Shut, the conspiracy world lost its collective mind. By 1999, when Eyes Wide Shut came out, the idea of the Illuminati, created by satirists and taken seriously by Da Vinci Code fans, had taken hold. But it had now become mixed online with anti-Semitic tropes of the protocols of the Elders of Zion to create a new mixture of old hatreds and lies. In this world, the Illuminati were the Jews, and specifically the squillionaire Rothschild family. The new conspiracy ran that Eyes Wide Shut was Kubrick revealing the secret sex and murder games of the New World Order elite led by the Rothschilds. And obviously, since Kubrick died shortly before the film actually came out, he must have been whacked by the perverted Illuminati bastards he was trying to expose through the medium of a Tom Cruise movie.
He filmed a ritual with Tom Cruise in it, in which I only know more recently was a Rothschild mansion.
Part of the reason for this impressive leap is that the film features a masked ball. People connected this to a party held in 1972 by a Rothschild called the Surrealist Ball. Salvador Dali designed special masks worn by A-listed guests who were served food on fur plates by butlers dressed as cats. Basically, it was the most amazing session history, and I would have loved to be there.
To really understand the model which modern conspiracy theories largely follow, we actually have to look at another bit of 90s pop culture. In The X-Files, Fox Mulder and Dana Scully are two FBI agents assigned to investigate unsolved cases involving paranormal activity. Week after week, episode after episode, Mulder and Scully find themselves going deeper and deeper into, guess what, a massive government conspiracy which, guess what, involves an alien race infiltrating positions of power on Earth using, guess what, a virus to infect and control their human host. The story has to escalate. It can never resolve because no resolution could ever be satisfactory for the scale of the questions being asked. The X-Files became the third longest running sci-fi show in American TV history. Its slogans, "The truth is out there" and "Trust no one," coming to define the paranoid fantasist style of the online conspiracy hunter. The truth is out there. It probably just doesn't involve anti-Semitic space lizard fantasies, fake moon landings, or billionaire sex cults. It's likely based on something a lot more boring, like interest rates or filibusters or something.
From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Time magazine admits that the election was rigged. It was basically a coup by a global cabal of corrupt elite individuals. Here you can see on Time.com the secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. Oh boy. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on the internet we've got to read this very important article. Because in this article they basically admit every single thing that was called a conspiracy by every single person that supports the mainstream narrative that our elections are totally fair and that the corrupt elite are not rigging the game. Now, I feel like we need to talk about this because not enough people are really talking about it. It is truly disturbing what they've laid out in this article. Now, this article is written by Molly Ball, and she basically admits to all of the Democrats' crimes and all of their collusion, all of the cheating, everything they actually did. So we're gonna go through here, we're gonna look through it, and we're gonna expose exactly how they took over America, essentially. Now we live in this dystopian nightmare realm with Joe Biden as president, who he himself says that we will not have normal jobs, full employment, until like 10 years. And he's basically saying, well, there's nothing I can do about it. The numbers are bad. You're screwed. Meanwhile, he's closing down key economic jobs like the Keystone Pipeline and others. We're in for, how do I put this? A very bad time. We're gonna go through the key components of this article and we're gonna talk about exactly how they're admitting that they basically rigged the election and they're laughing in your face. The rich elite are bragging. They are bragging. Now, if we go here in this tweet by Kanye Asada, he says, I'm sorry, what? So over on Twitter, we kind of have a compilation of some of the things that were said in this article. It currently has 41,000 likes and 16,000 retweets, so you can see that this story is going viral. Let's look here. In a way, Trump was right. There was a secret conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. So you know how for months conservatives, libertarians, and right-wingers were saying that big tech and corporations were teaming up with the left to take down Trump. Now, I don't know if the left is smart enough to realize this, and if you are a leftist, listen very carefully, you do know that if the corporate elite, the rich elite people, Wall Street, if they are against someone, doesn't that mean that that someone is the good guy? Because as far as I understand it, the left does not like the wealthy corporations who are corrupt, who steal money from the poor. And yet, you don't find it weird that the CEOs were siding with your hashtag BLM, hashtag resistance, hashtag anti-Trump orange man is bad? You didn't think for a second that maybe, just maybe, oh no, you're on the side of the rich elite? The pact was formalized in a terse, little-noticed joint statements of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and AFL-CIO published on Election Day. Both sides would come to see as a sort of implicit bargain, inspired by the summer's massive, sometimes destructive, racial justice protests, in which the forces of labor came together with the forces of capital to keep the peace and oppose Trump's assault on democracy. So, that is one heck of a statement, and I don't think the author is actually intelligent enough to know what she is actually saying. And that goes true for this entire article, really. She's basically saying, we are useful idiots who work for the cultural Marxists, the corrupt elite, the rich people, who own us like slaves and oppress us every single day, destroying our wealth, destroying our wages, destroying our jobs, keeping us poor and keeping us down. We teamed up with the bad guys because we're the good guys. Okay, the good guys. I love how they say in a way that Trump was right. Yeah, Trump was right. And so were the millions of Trump supporters who told people for months, Joe Biden doesn't care about you. Joe Biden is corrupt. The Democrats are corrupt. They simply want power. They are going to abuse that power, and they are going to ruin the economy. God, they did not listen. So here in this image it says, that's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream. A well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies, working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change the rules and laws, street media coverage, and control the flow of information. They were not rigging the election, they were fortifying it. Are you kidding me right now? I'm gonna frickin' lose it! And they believe the public needs to understand the system's fragility in order to ensure that democracy in America endures. Now they keep using that word! Democracy. Democracy. We gotta protect our democracy. Do you know what a democracy is? A democracy is a system where if people vote, their voice is heard, and they get to choose what happens and who gets elected, and so on. Everybody votes. So what do you call it when the nation state teams up with corporations to take down a sitting president to install a puppet leader, old man Joe Biden, who is truly incompetent, truly corrupt, and has basically done nothing good for the country in his over, what, like 40 years in office? What do you call that? Oh yeah, communist China? You call it a totalitarian regime, dictatorship, tyranny. And that's exactly what Democrats have voted for, and that is what they don't understand. You didn't fortify anything, you stole. You stole. You stole the presidency. You stole an election. You stole the people's voices. And you did it by changing the law? Changing the rules? Controlling media, controlling the flow of information. They are bragging. They are admitting it. They are admitting it. They rigged the game. And here's the amazing part. The Democrats and the liberals and all those left-wing soy boys and cucks, they're happy about it. They're willing to admit it now because they know there's nothing that we can really do since they have power. Okay, well, since they want to brag so much, I suggest that you show this video and this story to as many people as possible. Hey, I mean, if you're a left-winger and you're seeing this video, you're gonna see that everything those crazy right-wingers were talking about, all of it was true. All of it was real. Their work touched every aspect of the election. They got states to change systems and laws and help secure hundreds of millions in public and private funding. They admit it. They admit it. So let me ask you something, big tech. If you, I'm sure you're watching us right now because you think you're God. Listen to this. When conservatives said that they were changing the state's laws unconstitutionally, when they were saying that the Texas lawsuit needs to be taken seriously, because it correctly alleges that various swing states violated the Constitution, violated their own constitutions by changing election law to allow very insecure methods of voting.